Hello, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining me for the penultimate. This is the penultimate episode of our Thursday History Chat Live, and of 2021, should I say? Sorry, not forever, just for 2021, because next week will be the last in the series for 2021. I'll be back with you in January. Thank you, anyone who caught me on the catch up last week or who came a day early, because of course last week I did Thursday Tea Time Live on Wednesday, and that was because you may have seen I was down at Hampton Court Palace. Actually, I was down there on the Friday, but I travelled down on Thursday, so hence why I couldn't do the normal time. But if you haven't already had a look, have a look at I did a live, and I've done a reel on Instagram from Hampton Court Palace. I walked into Clock Court and there was choir singing. It was lovely. So I probably embarrassed them, I don't know, by standing there and taking some video of them singing. So please have a look at my reel of that, because it is quite beautiful. And then I did a live walking through Hampton Court Palace from base court, where there was lots and lots of stalls, through into the corridor near the great kitchens. I couldn't go into the great kitchens because they were already closed, but walked through the great hall, the great watching chamber, through the haunted gallery, and back down into the market. So after this, if you haven't already checked those out, then please do that, because it was quite magical. Right, let me say hi to everyone. Hi, Kim, Robert, Samantha, Maiden 246. I can see you joined. Louise, Knock Nuckery lady. Sorry, the Y was on a different line. Hi, welcome. Thank you for joining on Instagram, on YouTube. Welcome, Marion, Morgan, and Anindita. Hi, Anindita from India. I am very well, thank you so much, and thank you for being a member on YouTube, which is why you've got that fabulous badge next to your name with Elizabeth I on there. Hi, Jem. Welcome. Thank you. You were with us last night for History After Dark. Back with me again today. Thank you so much. On Instagram. That was fun last night. I'll talk about that in a bit. So Morgan from Iowa and Marion from California, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. So where are we now? The 9th of December. Like I say, this is the penultimate episode. So Jem says last night was hilarious. Well, thank you. It was quite funny, wasn't it? I'll talk a little bit more about our Wednesday night History After Dark event. It's a live thing that we do every week, and it will soon also be a podcast. But join us live if you can on a Wednesday night for various reasons. It is the unedited version. The podcast is slightly more edited, I have to say, only if we've gone completely off tangent, which can happen, can it not? Jem will. Can I call you Jem? I know your handle's Gemdesk 1913, but if Jem's all right, let me know. So it'll be available on the podcast. But if you can join us on a Wednesday night live, then please do, because it is the unedited version. There's myself, Kat Marchant, who's reading the past on YouTube, who's Jasmine, thank you. Kat Marchant is YouTube. No, she's not YouTube. She is reading the past on YouTube, nearly 100,000 subscribers. So if you're probably all subscribed to her already. If you're not, go and help her bump up her figures. She would like to get to 100,000 by Christmas. I would like to get to 100,000 by Christmas, but I think I've got a little bit further to go, but that's okay. And then it's also Catherine Brooks, who is now not just the Tudor Tracker. She was the Tudor Tracker on Instagram. She's now just not the Tudor tracker. And that's because she is expanding her remit. Anyway, I'll come back to talking about History After Dark. So welcome. Thank you for joining. I can see quite a few people catching us now and joining. So thank you. Thank you if you're also listening on the podcast, because this goes out as a podcast following the end. Or you may be watching on catch up. Hello, welcome. Both my Instagram and my YouTube channels are growing really fast now. So I want to thank everyone who's subscribed and followed me ever, but also recently. If you're new here, thank you. Welcome. Hi. Hopefully you will enjoy what we talk about. I cover quite a bit of, well, I cover British history, and I cover quite a large time period. I don't really, because I don't keep myself to one. We do a lot of Tudor history, but that's not it at all. And also if something links to history in other places, then, you know, doesn't have to just be British either. And I know a lot of you are watching from the US and India and Australia and New Zealand and Canada. So this is quite a global affair, which is very warming and exciting. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. So today there's quite a bit going on. I tell you what, I have had a head down. Good afternoon, Michael. Thank you for joining on YouTube. I've been head down for the past 2 days video editing, because I have now got the videos that are going out until the end of the year done, scheduled, ready to rock. So I will tell you what's coming up. I've also got one that's going live tomorrow. We'll talk about that, and one that went live yesterday. So we'll talk about that as well. We've got things like Mary Queen of Scots being born. And what I want to talk about with that is the phrase that her father is said to have muttered, James V of Scotland. It came with a lass, it will pass with a lass. So I will do my best to explain to you what he meant by that. Tomorrow is the anniversary of the abdication crisis. This is where Edward VIII decided that he could not be king because he wasn't going to be allowed to marry the twice divorcee. In fact, she wasn't actually divorced. She was going through a divorce. The second one, when he decided he wanted to marry her. And anyway, he abdicated the throne. So we'll talk about that. And I'll let you know what else is coming up. I'll talk to you about what we've been doing in some of our live events. So King John was one last night, which Jasmine has already said about, was about Christmas traditions. Well, some of it wasn't it, Jasmine? We tried to stick to it. It was quite funny. Oh, on Monday on Clubhouse, we talked about Henry VI. It was actually his 600th birthday, if you can actually have such a thing. And we were talking about the problem of weak kings. Now, that was on Clubhouse, but what I have discovered today, well, I already knew this actually last week, but I've discovered another thing. I'll tell you about it. You can go to Clubhouse and play it back. So you can actually catch up on that particular room on Clubhouse. And I have been able to download the audio, so it may well get onto the podcast if the audio is of good enough quality. So, but anyway, I'll talk to you a bit about that as well. Lindisfarne Gospels, I've been blogging and posting about Haddon Hall. I posted some photographs of Haddon Hall on my Instagram, which if you haven't had a look at yet, after this, go and have a look. People are absolutely loving them. And it is an incredibly photogenic place. I'll tell you a little bit more about Haddon Hall. For my patrons, there is a virtual tour of Haddon going live at 3 o'clock today, so in just under 2 hours. So if you are a patron, then you will get that pretty much straight after this. Day of treats for you. The upper class tier get a shortened version, and anyone above the upper class tier gets the full version, which in this case has ended up being the downstairs of Haddon Hall is the first half, and the whole of it is for is in the full version. So, hi History Biz Club, hi Sosu, Anita, Sean, thank you for joining. How are you all anyway? Anyone got all their Christmas stuff sorted yet? Or am I not allowed? Some people don't even like to talk about Christmas yet, do we? We're the 9th, but time is ticking, people. The children finish school week on Friday, week tomorrow. And by that point, if you've got kids at home, it's very difficult to get anything actually sorted. So I'm doing my best to get sorted. Oh, another thing I've been editing. This is going to be this is going to be hot off the press. I interviewed Leslie Smith. Oh, Jasmine's going to Disney World for Christmas. Oh, tell you what, don't tell Catherine. She will be so jealous. She adores everything Disney. Oh, that's going to be magical. And History Biz Club, I'm presuming I did put the Christmas decorations up as this, but it blew away in the storms. Yes, I have to say, I look like a bit of a bit of a Scrooge from the front of my house, despite the fact I have 3 Christmas trees and 7 advent calendars, although I've lost one, so I've actually got 6 at the moment. The front of my house has very few lights, and that's because of we've had 2 storms pretty much back to back here in Britain, and I just didn't think it was worth putting up the outside lights. I say me. I wasn't going to be the one putting them up. Michael, I'm only a peasant. Well, thank you for sharing. What did I say that was linked to that? I can't remember. Cool. So, sorry. So the what was I saying? So I've been interviewing Leslie Smith. Leslie Smith is, I've spoken about her to you before. She's the curator of Tutbury Castle. She is an incredible historian. She specializes in 16th century medicine and gynecology, and so quite specific, but like most of us, that she knows a lot more than just her speciality. And I interviewed her actually about her portrayal of characters from history, because you may have seen her. If you haven't and you get a chance, it's such a treat. She goes full on with the costume. So she does, for example, Elizabeth I, Mary Queen of Scots. She does Boudicca, Catherine of Aragon. She does she talks in the interview about how many characters she's done or does. So some have dropped off over the time, but she is incredible, and she goes into character. She does incredible amounts of research. It all stays up in her head, which is amazing in itself. Louise has a horse called Boudicca. Wonderful. Feisty. I mean, Boudicca, we could, I'd love to talk about Boudicca sometime. I'd love to find out more about her, but how much is there to find out? I mean, she she's known as kind of, I don't know, how would people think of her? I suppose a warrior queen, yes. I just said feisty, but I think that's not a word actually, if I thought it through, that I would use, because good God, what else was she to do? Brave, very brave, and socked it to them, most definitely, to those Romans. Donna, good morning. She's in Delaware. Looking forward to her trip to Dorset in 2023. Oh, so Dorset. So she's asking me for any recommendations. I'll come back to that in a moment. Let me write a note so that I don't forget. And although I'm writing down Doncaster, which won't help you because that's in a totally different part of the world. Dorset. Yes, I went to Dorset for the first time a few years ago. I won't say a few now because it's been 2 since COVID, hasn't it? So it's got to have been 3, but it feels quite recent. And in fact, Donna, if you drop me an email at office@britishhistorytours.com, the ones that I already know are ticking up in here that I can't think of the name of, I will I'll send you information on. Orlando, hello in Rio de Janeiro. You know that I can't think about Rio de Janeiro without singing the song from Rio, which if you've not seen it, you wouldn't, it would mean nothing to you. So yeah, so Leslie, so the interview with Leslie, so she gets into character. She knows all this incredible information. She goes to the primary sources. She reads people's letters. She, excuse me, she does her research like any good historian does. And she then will stand up, and I suppose it's called a monologue, really, and will talk to you as if she is Catherine of Aragon. Sard, so of course, yes, you can ask a question. Elizabeth I or Mary Queen of Scots, whoever she is, then she speaks to you as that person, and it's quite incredible. So I wanted to ask her, how did she choose her characters? How does she develop them? How does she do her research? How does it feel to be portraying these figures from history? Yes, Orlando, bossa nova song. Real. Oh, I need to watch that film again. Christmas films. Anyone been watching any Christmas films? I watched my absolute favourite the other day to get me in the mood. Polar Express. Just makes me cry every time. Every time. It's so lovely. If you haven't watched it, there's a treat. Anyone who likes steam engines as well, which I do. Yep, I'm a full-on geek. Then the original Christmas Carol. Yes. So one of my videos actually, which will be going out on I think it's the 19th, is about the original. It's about the publication of A Christmas Carol, because it's the anniversary of its first publication date. And apparently it's the only book never to have been out of print. Well, can't have been the only book. I'm pretty sure the Bible might be up there. But maybe play. I can't remember. Watch my video. I'm probably being far more specific in that, I hope. But yeah, it's never been out of print since A Christmas Carol, Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol. And we spoke about that a little bit last night on our History After Dark room. Michael, indeed. Indeed. Yeah, we have our own version of Scrooge this year, do we not? Well, not last year, but anyway. Maybe they should read the book. Maybe they should take note. Maybe they should read some history books. Just some options for them. Marion, A Charlie Brown Christmas. Oh, and How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Yes. All fabulous. Anyone watch The Holiday as well? The one with the insanely cultural stereotypes, but still really quite enjoyable. Yes, Jasmine, I can. Bear with me. I'm glad you reminded me, because I put it way too far back. So last night we were talking about Christmas traditions, and I have a book that I will recommend to you if you're interested in Christmas traditions up to and including the Tudor period. I've got a book that is really good, so I will I'll show you that in a bit, so that you can grab it for yourself as a little Christmas present. The interview with Leslie will go live for patrons on Saturday, because I'm bombarding my patrons a little bit at the moment because they get early access to everything. So I am separating it out a little bit, spacing things out a little bit. But today they've got the tour, or a look inside, I think I've called it, Haddon Hall. That goes live today for patrons. But the Leslie Smith interview, everyone will get access to that. Patrons will get access to it from this Saturday, and everyone else from next Saturday. I think, unless I do it a little bit earlier. I might do it Tuesday. Does Tuesday feel like a good day for a podcast? I don't know. And then obviously Thursday, I'll be back with this for our Christmas show. I'm saying that I've got no idea if I'll do anything different for Christmas, other than panic that things haven't been done. Although I'm quite on top. I'm quite on top of it all this year. Actually, I already know quite a bit about what I'll be talking to you about next week as well, because like I say, all the videos and podcasts are ready. Hiya, John, joining from New Jersey. All of the podcasts and videos for the end of the year History Biz Club. Put a Santa hat on. Yeah. Oh, easy peasy. Sorted. Thank you. I'll see if I can find a bit of tinsel as well. Yeah, all the videos and podcasts are ready. So till the end of the year. In fact, they all go up to Christmas Day, because I began the year with the murder or assassination of Thomas Becket, which is 28th of December, I think. I have to try and remember. Anyway, so that's already there. That's been there since the end of 2021. So anyway, so all the videos that are coming up, the last three, the final three, all are related to events which happened on Christmas Day. William the Conqueror being crowned, absolute farce. The Christmas message first being broadcast originally on the radio by George V, and then our Queen, current Queen Elizabeth II, she was the first monarch to do a TV address on Christmas Day. It's quite a staple of the British day, Christmas Day. Well, I say this, I forget that it's on. Sorry, that's really bad. But when my nana was alive, everyone had to shush and turn the telly on and listen to the Queen. And the other one is the Christmas Day Truce of 1914. This, I'd say, probably infamous cessation of fighting on the Western Front, only small parts of the Western Front during World War I, where British and German troops stopped fighting, came out the bunkers, exchanged gifts, treated each other like human beings, which is, of course, what war does not do. It dehumanizes people. And so the command were not happy with that for that reason. And measures were put in place so that it wasn't allowed to happen again. But anyway, so those three videos will all be out. I'm not going to put them all out on Christmas Day, because I'm assuming you've got better things to do than watch me. So they will be going out on I think I've done it for the 23rd, the 24th, and Boxing Day. And obviously they're there then for you to take in, absorb whenever you like. So I'll talk more about those next week. Publication of Christmas Carol will be coming out. The English Bill of Rights. It's the English Bill of Rights 1688, but it was passed in 1689. It passed through Parliament. So there's a video about that, and a video about Catherine of Aragon, because we're coming up to her birthday as well. So there's quite a lot coming out, but this is up until Christmas Day. So don't worry, it's not all going to come out in one go. Like I say, you could already check out my video about Mary Queen of Scots. So it's Mary Queen of Scots' birthday yesterday, the 8th of December. And thank you, Sadmar. Yeah, put me on instead of the Queen. Oh, actually, is that treasonous to say that? Oh well, said it now. So anyway, sorry. So Mary Queen of Scots' birthday. She was born at Linlithgow Palace to Mary of Guise and James V of Scotland. And of course, she became queen at 6 days old after her father died. But her father, I can't remember, sorry, which palace he was at, but he been in the Battle of, is it Solway Moss? Oh goodness, I can't remember. He'd been in a battle with the English, which was supposed to have all stopped, of course, when his sister had married, when Henry VIII's sister had married the King of Scotland. a little while back before that. Obviously didn't work. Anyway, he was supposed to have said, "It came with a lass, and it shall pass with a lass." So I've explained it in the video, and I will explain to you here as well in a short while why he said that, what was the meaning of what he was saying. So I'll explain it to you. So yeah, what else have I been doing? The Lindisfarne Gospels, you can find a post about that. And if you're a patron, there's a whole blog about the Lindisfarne Gospels. They are, in fact, you're able to see the Lindisfarne Gospels. Well, you can see them online, of course. It really high quality photos that the British Library have shared of it. Excuse me. Sudma, the King of Scotland. So when Mary Queen of Scots' father, who was on the throne when she was born, but he died when she was 6 days old, that was James V. So you've got James V, then Mary Queen of Scots, and then her son James VI was the one who also became King of England. So he was James VI of Scotland and James I of England. So we had a joint kingdom. No, well, he had a joint kingdom. We weren't unified as a kingdom, the United Kingdom of Great Britain, until it's Queen Anne's reign. I want to say 1700. Can't remember. I've done a video about the union actually. So if you're interested in that, and when I say video, all the videos are also on the podcast. I know quite a few of you like to pop on a podcast, so you can do that as well. You can also, by the way, I've pinned it to the chat in YouTube. I can't do that in Instagram, but you can now buy me a coffee, literally at www.buymeacoffee.com, is it? /Philippa. So there must be no other Philippa on buymeacoffee.com. So I'm hoping some random people who don't know me might buy me a coffee as well. But yeah, so you can actually buy me a coffee. How cool is that? That's such a nice idea. So it's a way to support creators, because obviously all this goes out for free. And 1707, thank you, John. The Act of Union, 1707, thank you. So yeah, so all this goes out for free. All my videos, the podcast are for free. Obviously, you can join my Patreon if you want more. Share with you what we're doing. But you can also buy me a coffee. I think that's such a lovely idea. Right then, Lindisfarne Gospels. Right, let me just say a couple of things about them. I did a post, like I said, there's a blog for patrons as well. The blogs are always available, even on the lower tiers of the patron. So that's available to everyone on Patreon. But the Lindisfarne Gospels, I'm doing this. If anyone on the podcast, I'm making a shape with my hands. I'm trying to show how thick this book is, right? So the Lindisfarne Gospels is like this. And it's attributed to one scribe. He was the abbot at Lindisfarne, or Holy Island, which is an island off the coast of Northumbria that is it's cut off from the mainland by the sea twice a day, and hence why there's it's one of the first abbeys, I think, to be established, because the idea is these monks, there's a few, there's only a few, and they are there to dedicate their lives to prayer, meditation, etc. It's also but anyway, it's on the Viking side, the Norwegian side and Denmark side of of England, and so it falls foul to Viking raids later on. But the Lindisfarne Gospels are incredible. Not only are they, I think I put this in the post, but they combine cultures. So the decoration in there, you can see there's Celtic decoration in there. It's written in Vulgar Latin, so that's Common Latin. Orlando's noticed my my poster in the back. It says, yes, it's a good day to have a good day, isn't it? Always. Hi, Ladka, Garuda Travel. Hello. Hi, Doug. So, yeah, sorry. So so the Lindisfarne Gospel. So it's in common Latin. And that if you're on Patreon, you read my blog, that I've gone into which pope that was, but it was effectively who allowed the translation into common or vulgar Latin, and that's because obviously the message was to be spread. We wanted to spread, the Christian church wanted to spread the message, and it helped for it to be in more understandable language for the layperson. But it has that, and then it has what's called a gloss in Old English, which so a gloss is like a translation or interpretation. So if you have a look at my post on Instagram after this, you'll see from the picture that you've got that calligraphy, Italianate style. I don't actually know how you describe it. What you can tell is the original in the book, and then in smaller handwriting you can see the Old English. So it's both this this work of dedication and also the oldest I think gloss in Old English as well that we have surviving. So it's really an incredible there's so many reasons why it's incredible, but anyway, so that's that was really fun blog to write, really interesting. Yes, thanks, Fake Tudor History. It is fascinating when you find out as well, like he's see, I can't even remember the name, I'm so sorry, but the abbot who is it's attributed to, well, they're not going to be the ones scribing this, but apparently they, that it's I suppose that's because we think of hierarchy as the higher up you go, the less you do and the more you tell. That wasn't the case in here, because they were the master craftsmen. They were the the masters of what they did. And monks made books, but also he used new technology in terms of getting the colors for the pages. Really, really amazing. Anyway, so if you're interested, you can join my Patreon. It's £5 a month, and you get the blog and you get early access to everything, and you'll get all the blogs from that I've created so far in Patreon as well, which is about 9, I think now. And you can do that just by going to patreon.com/British history. Coming up as well next week, I will be doing a walk around Stratford for my patrons. I'm also doing a Q&A for Cassidy Cash, who is that Shakespeare girl. So so that's going to be fun. I was supposed to be going to Stratford upon Avon this week, but anyone who's in Britain will know. Thank you, History Biz Club. Thank you so much for buying me a coffee. Thank you. Yeah, anyone who's in Britain or maybe seen, I don't know if it gets reported anywhere else, but we have had back-to-back storms, and we've had a big one for us. I mean, I'm sure there's other people in other countries going, that's a storm, but basically we just stay in, and and History Biz Club, avoid putting up my Christmas lights yet, or yours fell down. Yeah, so anyway, that's coming next week. If anyone has don't know, it wasn't Bede actually. So Bede is a monk, scribe, historian. I'll have to look it up again. I'm so sorry, I can't remember. So yeah, but honestly, I could wax lyrical about the Lindisfarne Gospels. If you want to know more about medieval, well, not medieval, actually, the setting up of the religious houses in England, The Private Lives of the Saints by Dr. Yanina Ramirez is a fantastic book that I would thoroughly recommend. There's another one for your Christmas list. I should make like an Amazon recommended list or something, but then again, I'm not overly sure I want to promote a big company in this day and age when there's lots of small ones struggling. So, but anyway, Dr. Yanina Ramirez's book, The Private Lives of the Saints, is well worth a read. Cool. So I've mentioned that you can re-listen to the room we did about Henry VI. It was the 600th anniversary of his birth on Monday, and we talked about how that he was a weak king, and what impact that had, and what impact having a weak king has. And you can go back and listen to it. I think it's about over an hour. I will share it on my Instagram story, the link to it, when we get off here, so you can go and listen to it. But what was interesting that sort of came up in the discussion, or came up in my mind from having the discussion, is do things happen because of a weak king, or do things happen and because it's a weak king, it's blamed on him being weak? I'll try and explain. So obviously Henry VI, he is known for having a mental breakdown. I mean, he goes into sort of a catatonic state for months, in long enough that his wife has given birth to their son. Marion, an inch of rain in California is a major storm. Well, you are no, you're not the Sunshine State, are you? But you get a lot of sun. So rain is rain not quite? Is rain quite welcome when it comes? So Henry VI, he does have problems. But I don't know if maybe they're focused on a bit too much, because he's pious. He wants everyone to get along. He doesn't want a society that is warring all the time. He establishes his schools. He establishes universities. I mean, he establishes Eton. And anyone who's listened to me before talk about this knows that I spit feathers, really, because so you've got places like Eton and Christchurch, and there's probably plenty of other examples. And these were schools set up for poor boys. Well, Christchurch actually boys and girls, but Eton poor boys, and it was a feeder into King's College, Oxford, I think. Now, you can't go to Eton unless you can afford £46,000 a year. And that will be just the tuition. That's before you have to do the ski trips and the whatevers. Anyway, but so Henry VI is probably turning in his grave just for that reason. But is that weak? Or is that actually quite a strong position in a country that is that's default position appears to be war? Anyway, it doesn't work. We have the Wars of the Roses, but think about Edward IV, who his father, Edward IV's father, Duke of York, and then when he dies, Edward IV who becomes Edward IV is History Biz Club. You don't even get a cap for that at Eton. No. Well, I did look up. I didn't mean to look up the fees. They came up because I was checking some information, and it was very expensive. Although probably not for the people who can afford to send them. But anyway, it's that thing. These schools were set up for people who couldn't afford a good education. Because at that point, and for a long time after, children of wealthy families and whoever could afford it would have tutors. So they were getting their education. This was somewhere where a group could come and be educated to a high standard. But anyway, so I've lost track where I was. So Edward IV. You can think of him as a very strong king. He was Michael, you can't have your cake and eat it, or you can't eat on your cake and have it. Ah, nice. So Edward IV, he's betrayed by arguably both of his surviving brothers. In life, George, Duke of Clarence, who defects with the Earl of Warwick, the Kingmaker, and they put Henry VI back on the throne. And then arguably his other brother, Richard, Duke of Gloucester, who becomes Richard III, who, after Edward's death, deposes Edward's son, Edward V. So is he weak? Because it's the same outcome. There's betrayal. Anyway, just my musings after that. But you can listen to that room back. Like I say, I will share the link to that room on Clubhouse, so you can listen to it back. Clubhouse now, I think, is available to anyone and everyone on a smartphone or an iPad, and it's free. So yeah, cool. Marion, in Southern California, if it's going to rain, we call it storm watch on the news. I'm sure what you'll have been going through is major. Now, I'm lucky where I am. In the north of the country, they have had long power cuts in parts. So they're quite resilient, but still, that's not ideal, is it? It's cold as well. It's about 3 degrees at the moment, and when that's coupled with driving rain, it's not at all pleasant. Anyway, so Henry VI. So there's an interesting character and to think on. We talked about King John last week in History After Dark. So that room was after I did the Tea Time Live last week, because the Tea Time Live was early. It was on Wednesday. And we did King John. So bad King John, did he have any redeeming features? Well, you'd have to wait till the end. I think we're about, we'd gone over an hour, and Catherine Brooks brings up that one of the final acts or things that John did on his deathbed, nearly on his deathbed, near to when he died, anyway, was make a lady called Nicola de Hay the sheriff of Lincoln, I think it was. So we concluded he was an early feminist. Joke. John, the Plantagenets were a fractious group. Family parties must have been a riot, literally. Yes. Christmas with the Plantagenets. Oh, History Biz Club. That was really great on John. Thank you. Glad you enjoyed it. So that one will make it to the podcast. Doug, it's grim up north. It's grim up north. I saw a video the other day. What Southerners think Northerners do or say, or something. They talk about the gravy mines, which sending your kids down the gravy mines. Which, if anyone doesn't know, so there's I don't know where it's come from, but Northern lads love gravy. I love gravy. Anyway, so King John, there you go. There may be his only, hi Laura, there may be his only redeeming feature, that perhaps if he wasn't trying to seduce you as a woman, that he actually didn't care whether you're a woman or a bloke. But if you were up for the job of sheriff, he was all right with you. I don't know. That'd be a new look on John, wouldn't it? John the feminist. Oh dear. But King John invented Bisto. Well, that would. Do you know what? Is Bisto a good thing for gravy? I don't know. See, I make mine from scratch when I do make it at all. I love him in the north. Oh my goodness. I mean, we could. I heard. So if any of you are interested and enjoy David Starkey's talk, David Starkey's work, he has a new YouTube channel called David Starkey Talks. So he's gone independent, and he's got lots of lectures on there, and he was talking about the harrying of the North under well, William did it, I think Edward did it, Edward I, anyway, and how basically the North has never recovered. We are, like it or not, admit it or not, London centric here in terms of what happens in the rest of the country, and London is nothing like the rest of the country. It genuinely isn't. So, and it was interesting, this sort of almost flippant comment, because it wasn't the topic he was talking about, but that the North has never recovered. And when we talk about the harrying of the North, when crops were burnt, when cattle was slaughtered, when people were left to starve, the land was left without anything growing, with no food. That's for years. This wasn't like they were growing stuff again the next month. This has a massive impact. So there was never going to be the chance for a royal court to set up north, for instance. And so what's happening in our modern times, when you start to look at it and link it back, the butterfly effect, I suppose, isn't it? The ripple effect of something happening, and then the next thing happens because of it, and the next thing, and the next thing, and the next things, and there you have it. You've got, I don't even know, do I want to go down that route? Maybe not. But yeah, so we've got very, very southern centric, London centric rule, and have for a very, very long time. And when you think about it, yes, if you harry the North, if you can't grow food, if you have no if the people are weak, if the people have been subdued, etc., then yeah, it's not great. Michael, it's amazing how many people in the North have famous family names. Seems like all the nobility lived it there. Well, excuse me, there is seats. Well, so you're going to give your nobles titles, right? So you're going to give them Duke of Northumberland. It's a big landmass. They don't care that the people can't pay their overlords. They still demand it. So you could still make your mate very wealthy by giving him Northumberland, or I don't know, somewhere. But yeah, absolutely. Anyway, how did we get onto that? I don't know. So that was fun. Last night we were talking about Christmas traditions. So Jasmine, you were asking if I could reshare the book that I was talking about last night. It's called A Tudor Christmas. It's by Alison Weir and Siobhan Clarke. Alison Weir, I'm sure you've all heard of. Siobhan is she's written a few books, I think, but she's also a tour guide at Hampton Court Palace. She's taken a couple of my tour groups before. She's a lovely lady, and in here they've done a really good job, I have to say, of putting together the traditions at Christmas, in Tudor times, which of course includes therefore anything that happened that's developed before. So they go into some of the origins of festivities. Tell you what, they really went for it. You know how now we think Christmas sort of drags on. I think maybe it's because we start it really early. They would have Advent. It would be a fasting time. So Christmas Day was the break of the fast, and that had to have a dispensation if it landed on a normal fasting day. Was Wednesday a fasting day? I think Kat said last night. Anyway, so they go into all of this. They go into fasting, feasting, the wassail, which I've now educated myself about. So the wassail it's a bit like, in my mind, a cross between carol singing and trick-or-treating. So Renee, I have this. I purchased it last Christmas. It's a ravishingly little book. I like that word, ravishing. It's a ravishing book. It is little. I mean, I can, it's very compact and perfectly formed. What does Doug say? Perhaps a view from down south that the North benefited from the Danelaw and so viewed them negatively. Oh, well, Danelaw is another bit actually I need to get a bit more au fait with, so I can't comment. Anyway, so yeah, wassailing. So they would bring round, there's two sorts of wassailing. I think one that was called door to door and one that was in an orchard. And it's a ritual of wishing good health, wishing prosperity in the year to come. Or I have huge hands. I am a giant. I wish I was. I'm 5'3". I'm nowhere near a giant. Yeah. So the orchard one. So they would go to. I do look like I've got huge hands. I'm close to the camera. They would go. Oh, Marion, I will come back to your question in a moment. Yes. They would go to an orchard. They would have this Christmassy drink. So Christmas got spices. They would use dried fruit. I suppose beer, cider. I mean, if you're in somewhere like Herefordshire, Worcestershire, places like that where pears grew, then cider was a big drink. So think of like mulled wine, mulled cider, that kind of thing. And they would go to the orchards and bless the trees. But the one where they would come around to people's houses, excuse me, I forgot my drink today. The one where they come around to people's houses, they would come with the bowl, and I think you could take a drink. You couldn't do it in COVID times, could you? You take a drink, and then the people bring it around. I think it was probably children would wish you a happy new year, or sorry, a prosperous new year, good health, that kind of thing. And the word, the etymology of the word actually originates in a similar word, I think, in Old English and I want to say Danish, I'm not sure, which basically means that good health. Yeah. Oh yeah, number 10 can do it. COVID doesn't exist in number 10. Yeah. So they come around with the bowl, they wish you good health, and they demand a gift, or a gift, an offering. It could be a piece of fruit, it could be, I don't know, whatever. Which is why I said it sounds to me, it's like a cross between a trick or treat, what we expect at trick or treat at Halloween, and carol singing, because they would come around and sing and whatever, but demand a treat. And this is where, and I should have looked this up because last night I couldn't remember the name of the words to the carol, which is the one where they demand figgy pudding. But that is you think rude, but that was the whole thing. They did demand. If you didn't give an offering back, then you wouldn't be getting the good health wishes. So Renee, I wish we could bring back most of these traditions. It's it's interesting. The idea of I think the idea of fasting, we wish you a Merry Christmas. I have to sing it through in my head now. We won't go until we get some. Yeah, there's other. We won't go until we get some. We won't go until we get some. We won't go until we get some. So bring it right here or something. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I see. The party, Doug says, was at number 9 3/4. Very good. It's a magical place. You have to just smash your face through the door of number 10 to get into it. So Christmas traditions that survived today. Well, so this is why I would recommend this book actually. And I have got some videos that I've done in previous years that if I get a chance, I because I'm not shoving enough your way. You can be like, oh my God, I can't watch everything. But they had evolved. Many are back to pre-Christian, or some are back to pre-Christian times. The idea of decorating the house, bringing in evergreens, something like the Yule log. is back to the idea of bringing in a tree into the communal great hall, the community, that and this would slowly kindle throughout the season. But the idea of fasting for Advent, and then you can have a really big feast day on Christmas Day, is interesting, isn't it? Because we don't do that. We sort of go, oh, it's December, and kind of treat ourselves the whole way through, and then in January feel very gluttonous and fat, and like we should have actually not done that. But I like the idea of having that period of cessation, of what's the word, keep it, yeah, I don't know, and then the fasting, sorry, and then feasting. Anyway, so that's not something we do, but we do observe Advent, me 7 times a day. That's 3 of them in the background: Tower of London, Blenheim Palace, and this is my Santa chimney. So if you're on Instagram, you can't quite see them. That's Tower of London, that's Blenheim, and that's my Santa chimney. And the Santa chimney is really cute. If I do that, I can kind of do it for both. Every 3 days he comes down a level, because you pull out a stick with the number of the date on. Very, very precious that is, because I have no idea where I got it. Can't find it again. Never seen anything like it again. So I love it. But yes, we have Advent. And then you have things like big revelry. This was like a time of rest. It was a time to turn things on their head, have role reversals within the abbeys or the cathedrals. So you get your boy bishops becoming bishop for like a month or something. You might get women and men reversing roles. It's sort of I don't know. It's an interesting time. Also, this is and this relates back to a History After Dark room we did. And I forgot to say this last night in last night's one, but the telling of ghost stories. So this idea that, excuse me, that the separation between Earth and the afterlife is really thin at this time, and so that's when you get lots of ghost stories being told. So that's interesting. That's we don't really associate Christmas now with ghost storytelling. That's obviously more Halloween. But things like your mince pie, Christmas pudding, Christmas cake, gingerbread, all of that has got quite a long tradition. And I did a video a couple of years ago. It's going to be more than that, with a lady who's a baker, and she was explaining all the different elements of the traditional things that we bake at Christmas. And the mince pies are interesting, because mince pies, I haven't got one. I should have brought one with me today. They were originally in the shape of the crib, and they'd be bigger, and they are called mince. It is called mince meat that goes in it, because it was mince. It was a savoury pie that would have had spices and dried fruit added to it. And then I think in Victorian times, basically when we got sugar more readily available, it was the meat element was dropped. Marion, is that video on YouTube? Can't remember, because I did it a few years ago. Let me have a look, and if I can find it and it's not going to take too much editing, I will whack it up, whatever it is, whatever the phrase is. John Sinclair, A Christmas Carol includes 3 ghosts, of course. Yes, of course. You are correct. Ghost of past, present, and future. Scrooge's chance to mend his mean ways. Yeah. So you will see that video coming out soon as well. So let me just check. Donna, if you make sure you drop me an email, office@britishhistorytours.com, I will send you one back with some of my tips for Dorset. Dorset, you're going to see Durdle Door, go fossil hunting, and there's a castle that I will tell you about because I can't remember the name of it. I want to say, no, I'm going to say the wrong name if I say it, so I'm not going to do it. Cool. I've given you my book recommendation for that. I've given you two, actually. So remember, Dr. Yanina Ramirez's book, A Private Life of the Saints, is really good if you want to know about the establishment of, I want to say abbeys, but it's not just abbeys, religious houses in Britain and Ireland. It's a really fascinating book, a bit of an insight. Like, well, I should call it a private life, private lives of the saints. And the Tudor Christmas book. That's really good as well. Look out for Leslie Smith's interview. That's coming up in January. I will release the interview I did with Tracy Borman. Patrons got to ask their own questions for Tracy, so it's well worth, if you love British history, have a look at my Patreon site, patreon.com/British history, and you can choose the tier that suits you. Everyone gets the monthly blog and early access to videos, and then the level of benefits goes up as you go up the tiers. You can also buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Philippa. I must have got in there early to have Philippa on its own. I'm just the Philippa and buy me a coffee. You can do that as well. I would really appreciate you helping me out. That would be lovely. I'm building up to buy some equipment for doing these videos. Next year, in 2022, my British History series, so the one that goes alongside this on YouTube and on the podcast, that's been a lot of, I can tell you exactly, I think it's 97 episodes I've done this year. But they're all short and fact-packed about different events which have happened in British history over the year. Next year, though, I am going to be doing one a month. It's going to be documentary sort of length, longer, basically, more in depth. So I'm currently deciding on the topic. So if there's something particular that you would like me to cover, let me know, because it is still up in the air as to exactly what titles I am going to do, what subjects I'm going to cover. So, and I do listen, and if it's something I can do, then I will do it. I won't pretend to know everything about everything, because I don't, and no one does. So don't let them tell you otherwise. But yeah, so 2022, there won't be quite so much of a bombardment of videos. However, there's a lot to catch up on if you didn't get them the first time round. I am going to leave you all there. Like I say, thank you for spending your time with me. History Biz Club, William Marshall. Yes, check out as well. Genuinely, check out David Starkey Talks. He talks about William Marshall quite a lot. Obviously in the relevant time period, so you might enjoy that as well. But yes, absolutely great, great suggestion, Marion. Where would we send those topics? Very good question, Marion. Thank you for that. You can. I was going to say you can direct message me on Instagram, but my Instagrams are direct messages are being a bit odd at the moment. So you can email me. My email is office@britishhistorytours.com. So you can send your suggestions to me there. Much appreciated. Yeah, that would be great. Thank you very much. So thank you for spending your time with me today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, week and weekend. I will see you next Thursday, same time, ready for our last episode, live episode of the year. Louise, thank you for a fab lunchtime chat. Missed a few bits, but but yes, you can catch it on the catch up as well. That'd be great. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day. All right. See you soon. Bye. Bye, everyone.